Hey, what's up, everybody? Onepeg here. There's a second video for the day. Sure. Why not? Why not? That's what we're here for. We did some testing for the fog. Apparently, I missed that patch note, and I apologize. We did some testing for the fog on interchange and on reserve. TLDR, there is more visibility, but it feels about the same, and I'll show you what I mean. The second thing is for audio on shoreline and reserve is vastly improved. Now, there are bugs, and we'll get into them, but TLDR stuff, okay? Audio is better. Turn binaural audio on if you haven't already, okay? Now, that's the short and sweet of it. I'll get into the testing methodology and why I'm backing up what I'm saying. Insofar as fog is concerned, on interchange and on reserve, they say that they modified how well you're able to see inside on interchange and on reserve, basically because of how light is interacting with the fogginess on these two maps. That being said, we did some testing, and from what I can tell, there really isn't much of a difference between indoors or outdoors for fogginess. But before everybody starts typing away in the keyboard, the amount of fog on the maps appears to be less. When we tested this, we took a shot, an image from about, I think, 90 meters or so outdoors in front of the Interchange Mall, and then we went inside the Interchange Mall and did a same type of shot, same type of image from 90 meters or so away inside after I shot out a couple of shop lights. Because even though indoors the fog was supposed to have been dispersed, what we noticed was there was an awful lot of light wash kind of like interrupting our lines of sight, which is a problem with the way that the lighting works in the game, and they really desperately need to fix it, but I digress. What it looks like to me is that there's just less fogginess on the maps based on these images and what I had been seeing as I had been testing it. It might be like ever so slightly better than what you see outside, but depending on like lighting sources from outdoors in the daytime versus when you're indoors and what you're able to see, it almost feels as though in certain situations, even with it being potentially like foggier outside, I could actually see certain targets better outside than I could see them indoors because of how dimly lit the place is. But from just like an amount of fog, like kind of in that area, it looks like it's about the same amount of fogginess. But I did one better. We went to reserve and we did the same kind of a test, except this time what we did is I took a shot at about 50 or 60 meters away in the underground bunker, like in the main underground bunker room, where we turned on the power so that the lights were on. And then we had one shot where it was all like high volumes of fog, max fog. And then the other shot is no fog, clear day. And you can see a very visible difference in the amount of, I guess, occluded stuff is in between me and them when I'm looking at them in a scope. The image on the right, which was like max fog, still looks foggy. You can see that there's fog there. It's just not as much as what it used to be. You don't have like this heavy fog bank where there's hardly any visibility after 20 meters and things are completely washed out and you can't see a damn thing. It looks visibly improved from what it was at one time. So in my mind, it doesn't look like it makes a difference whether or not the indoors or the outdoors are foggy. To me, what it looks like is there's still fog. There's just not as much of it. It looks like the fog just in general on both maps was just lessened. That's kind of it. The net result, though, is that we can still see further away, and that was kind of the point. You want to be able to see people. It's just like there's still fog there. You know what I mean? So the patch note was a little bit misleading, I guess is the point, but the end result is still the same. We can see further, and that's kind of like the point. Okay, now for audio. We did the same type of testing that we had done in the prior videos where we were testing audio differences. The patch note specifically said that shoreline audio and reserve audio were improved. So we went to shoreline and we started testing things between floors. The first thing that we noticed was from the first floor to the second floor, there is a little bit of occlusion going on. You could definitely tell that somebody was running on a floor above you instead of running on the same floor in front of you. But the other more interesting piece is when I had someone run up to the third floor and start running where it was more muffled than it was on the second. So now we have differing levels of occlusion between the first, second, and third or higher floors. You can still hear people running on the roof, but you can tell based on how muffled it is that they're above the second floor as opposed to being on the second floor when you're on the first one. And I think that that's important because as you get used to the way that the sounds are made, you'll be able to tell the difference between somebody running on 2 versus somebody running above 2, right? Or more than one floor away from you, I guess is the point. Yeah. It was the same thing on reserve when we had running going on the pawn buildings, and I could hear somebody running between different levels. That being said, there were still some buggy parts that we found. We noticed that in one specific part of Shoreline, right near the hole in the floor on the second floor, I believe it's in West Wing, you could tell like that somebody was running, so there's no more like quiet audio, like people don't just like disappear from your hearing anymore, which is great. But what they did do is they sounded as though they were still underwater. And if you're standing in like this 1 meter square, everything that you hear sounds like it's underwater, along with everything that they hear sounds like it's underwater if they're standing in that one spot. Walk around, like just like this, back and forth. Yeah, okay. What about here?
Unlucky.
Oh, now you're loud. Okay.
Yeah, as soon as you stepped out of that little box.
No, the same thing with you. Walk right over here. Walk right here. So something going on between like standing around that one big hole is messing with people's hearing a little bit. But the rest of the map sounded pretty good from what I could tell. The stairwells are still messed up though. So if you're hearing audio in stairwells, if you're standing in a stairwell, or if you're listening to somebody running up and down a set of stairs, that still needs work. It's not done right yet, but it is better. Also, directional audio works now. So for binaural audio, the easiest way to tell this is have somebody jump up and down in front of you, spin around, and have them jumping behind you. You can tell the difference in audio types between if they're in front of you or behind you or not. So both on reserve and on shoreline, both of these work. Now for reserve specifically, there are still some bugs. For instance, we noticed that if we're standing on like the third floor of the pawn building on White Pawn next to like the wee-woo switch, there's still audio issues with people having firefights underground. You can hear gunshots, you can hear bullet impacts, you can hear ricochets. It almost sounds like rounds are hitting like the wall on the building outside, right next to your face. So there's definitely something there that still needs to be fixed, because you probably shouldn't be able to hear somebody firing off guns like underground, like through dirt and rock and all of this other stuff. And there are still some wonky things with transferring floors in pawn buildings and stuff like that. Again, stairwell problems. However, like I said, this is a vast improvement to the amount of directional audio that is in the game now. We still need interchange and labs. Those two still are, I guess, on the list of to-do things insofar as like binaural audio is concerned. But for now, the majority of the maps now, at least, you can tell the difference between front and back and side to side and above and below and all this other stuff. So binaural, for now, at least, on these maps that they say have been improved, they were actually improved and binaural works now. Oh, and on reserve, the Bishop building, where everything inside of the building sounded like it was underwater, it doesn't sound like that anymore. It sounds good. Now, obviously, BSG has a long way to go yet. They're not all the way there. We know that they're not all the way there. But this is at least workable. Like, I can actually tell where people are around me now instead of having to guess, which is very nice. Anyway, guys, that's what I have for this one. Thanks so much for coming and checking the video out. I very much appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. If you would be kind enough to sub the channel here, I would very, very much appreciate it. Otherwise, come and check me out at twitch.tv/Onepeg, where I'm live every day around 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until whenever. Thanks so much for coming and checking this out. I really do appreciate it again. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.